now.
So we're somewhere here?
Yes, we're right at the bow. That looks pretty good. Now, let me switch inputs here. There it is. There's the ship. There's Titanic, huh? There you go.
Wow.
There it is.
I can see it through the porthole.
It is a real picture.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Remember it with your eyes. It's better than the video. Okay, we're rolling. There's the bow. All right. It's the perfect ghost ship, you know, just sort of emerging out of the murk.
I think there's also something about the fact that it's so difficult to get to. And I've dived a few wrecks that are like tourist wrecks.
Yeah.
But this is...
It's almost like a space mission to get to it.
Yeah.
It's always struck me that it exists in another world, you know, in a almost like the mythical Greek underworld.
It's extraordinary that we've got our back to it, and we're looking at it like you would look through the television, and then you turn around and look through the porthole, and there's the real thing.
Right there. In case we don't get back to the bow, I might want to have a look too.
Yeah,
It might be the last time I see it with my eyes.
It's massive chains.
Yeah, they're huge. Each one of those links weighs of 150 pounds.
Looks like the set for the first act of an opera.
Yeah, it definitely has a very strange quality.
Before we go exploring inside the wreck, Jim's planned a tour of the deck.
We're going to head aft. We're going to see the spot where the ship's band was playing. So this is where they would have played. I mean, this is on my first dive to Titanic in 1995. We landed here, and it wasn't a legend anymore. It was a real place where real people had died, where a real tragic event had taken place. And something about looking out at the deck, at this rusty deck that barely looks like anything, and knowing that that's right where the Titanic band had played.
Does Jim think they really played until the ship went down? Musicians, you've worked with musicians. Musicians drive you nuts.
They're flaky creative types, you know, they're almost as bad as filmmakers. No, these guys were heroes. They were paid some ridiculously small amount of money.
They just had a 30% wage cut.
Yeah, they had a wage cut. And to put it in perspective, the White Star Line, and probably all the steamship lines, they were so stingy that they only paid the widows 3/4 of their outbound pay because they didn't finish the job to New York. And they charged them for the lost uniforms. You know, I mean, these guys were just lowly paid guys that just played for a bunch of people that never listened.
A heroic myth's been built up around that little band, but I still find it hard to believe that they sacrificed their lives for so little. We head forward, towards the bow.
Now we feel like we're walking on Titanic.
Jim's flying the bot exactly at eye level. This is a view of Titanic that only a few people in the world have ever seen.
This is just what it would feel like to be a crew member standing here. These windlasses and these big chains. And that is the view up to the bow rail from a human perspective.
What's that kind of grill thing there?
That is a platform to stand on, so you could literally stand at the bow and look out. And that's where Jack and Rose would have been standing. This is what it would have looked like to look out over the ocean from about the height of a human perspective. It's nice, Jen. It's good. Just hold there. Wow, this is really cool. I never thought I'd be standing here.
On our journey back from the bow, we begin to travel up the collapsed mast. This is where lookout Frederick Fleet first sighted the iceberg. The mast has suffered a major collapse over the past few years. Given the rate of bacterial growth and consumption, it's not going to be here for much longer. Fleet would have climbed 100 feet up the inside of the hollow mast out of this door to the now destroyed crow's nest.
See this cable hanging out of the crow's nest?
Yeah.
I think that that's the telephone cable. So that's where Frederick Fleet called the bridge.
Iceberg! Right ahead!
And if he had seen it, what, 10 seconds earlier, might have all been different. We've moved up to the bridge, and you can see that it's pretty devastated up here. You can see the corner, there's like a wooden baseboard there. That would have been the outline of the wheelhouse.
All that remains is the telemotor, the bronze steering mechanism that once held the ship's wheel.
What happened here was that a ship went down so fast that the currents of water flowing over it snapped the guy wires that hold the mast, and it fell back and hit right here on the bridge, and it shattered the face of the wheelhouse, and the flow of water just tore it all off. Gilligan is now pretty much standing right where Quartermaster Hitchens was when he was standing at the ship's wheel, keeping a straight and steady course for New York, and unexpectedly heard 3 sharp rings of the crow's nest bell, and that crow's nest would have been, you know, out there in the darkness someplace ahead of him. When Frederick Fleet called in, 6th Officer Moody would have answered the phone right over here against that wall. You know, what he heard was Frederick Fleet saying,
Iceberg! Right ahead!
Murdoch looked out front and saw an iceberg right square in their path, and he had to decide, do I go left or do I go right, you know? And it's not clear whether any decision would have been the right one at that point.
The junior officers made decisions that night that sealed the fate of 2,000 lives. People say the captain, Edward Smith, was paralysed by indecision. Do you think there was a chance that more people would have been saved if he'd acted faster?
It's always easy to be a Monday morning quarterback on the game. They had an unfolding crisis. People within the kind of management team, you know, the officers, handled it well or poorly on an individual basis. They lacked leadership, and things did go worse than they should have from the moment they hit the iceberg. I mean, I played a little mind game for you know, a while when I was doing the movie. I said, well, how would you have saved everybody? Given the givens, like the moment after you hit the iceberg, how would you have saved everybody? And there are 2 answers, 2 things they could have done. Probably both of them so outside of the box that they never would have done it,
And
even
those
if
2
they had
things
thought
are?
of it. One, put the ship in reverse and back it down to the lights that were about 10 miles away. They could have done that in about 45 minutes.
And this is the Caledonia?
The California.
The California.
They saw lights. They sent people in lifeboats to row to lights 10 miles away. It was pretty stupid when they had a ship. The other thing they could have done if that ship had not been around, or if they had not seen it and known of it, was they could have put everybody that they couldn't fit in the boats on the iceberg, because it was not sinking. They were sinking. The iceberg...
The sides weren't sheer.
The sides were probably pretty sheer, but they weren't any taller than the boat deck, and they had electric cranes, and they could have offloaded people like cargo onto or just put the crane over onto the iceberg. It was a perfectly flat, calm sea. It would have been like 2 buildings coming together and stepping from one onto the other. They would have been cold, but they would have been alive.
The human drama acted out on the bridge is well accounted, but not much is known about the fate of the crew and the third-class passengers way down in the heart of the ship.
Now we're going to go inside Titanic and go down Scotland Road.
Scotland Road was a corridor running 3/4 of the ship's length. The main thoroughfare was where the waiters, maids and butlers shared cabins. Perhaps it was somewhere down here the steward James Robinson met his fate. Can I borrow that for a second?
Yes, go ahead.
So, this is Jim's AA map. This is where he's just landed. And he's going to go down that one and light all the way down them, so there's a basic column of light that he can always find when he's going all around.
There's a set of stairs. Quite nice.
Broken.
All right, now it's opened up. Yes, now we're getting somewhere. This is more what I expected to see. Proper corridor. Ah, that's our door. That's our door, guys. Look at that. That's a fiddly right there if I ever saw one.
A fiddly was the fixed metal ladder that acted as an escape route from the flooding and exploding boiler rooms. It could be our only way in.
Oh, that's not good. What the hell was that? This is not good. This is not so good right here. This is bad. Bad situation. That's very bad. Oh, did you see that?
The problem is that Elwood and one of the other bots have got tangled together, and Elwood's cut out completely. We've got no picture, and so Jim's trying to get the other one back into the garage first, and then he's going to try and move Elwood, because he fears that if he tries to move Elwood before the other one's at home and dry, he could cut the tether of that one, and we'd have two bots stuck.
Guys, we got a situation. You need to just chill out for a little while. Conserve energy. All right, we're on a rescue mission now.
Before we can go any further into the wreck, we need to rescue Elwood. He stopped moving and stopped sending us video pictures. It could be that his tether's tangled, or maybe he's just run out of battery power. The only way to do it is to use one of the other bots to nudge and bash him back into his little garage on the mere. Not very scientific, I know. Have you any idea which direction you're going?
No idea. I'm just hunting around till I run into my tether.
The strange thing about being in the mere underwater is that you're totally disorientated. Part of you knows that you're in the submersible. Another part of you thinks that you're outside at the bottom of the ocean. And there's another part of you that thinks you're actually inside the little robot camera.
Whoa. No, we don't want that one.
This whole journey, which I thought was going to be a trip through Wonderland or Mermaid Land, has actually veered off into a very unexpected and frustrating fiddling about. Elwood is safe and well. But now, Gilligan's developed a fault.